Okay, guys, and this is it. My '99 Chevy Camaro Z28. For the most part, all the work is done on it. And I'm gonna go ahead and just give you a whole walk around the whole car and everything that I've done to it up to this date, not just the interior work. But the most obvious right here, of course, the grille and the ground effects and the Z28 logo, and of course my headlights as well. They've got projectors in them and have headlight ballasts on them, and they're actually not the most best configured. I'm eventually going to go ahead and have them retrofitted with the retrofit source stuff. Um, and here I've got LED turn signals and LED marker lights. The LEDs are actually brighter than the stock bulbs in this because I've got better bulbs than your standard LED bulb. And they do work. They do flash properly. I actually had quite a few problems, and it turned out that it was my driving light relay. So anyway, I'm gonna go around. We got 19 by 8.5 on the front and 19 by 9.5 on the rear. Uh, and I'm running Brembo brakes. Had them powder coated orange to match the color of the car. With the Brembo brake logo, 5 spokes. Um, they had the riveted wheels on sale, so I bought them first. But then I found out that the reason that they were on sale is because they were going out of production, and I had to go with a slightly different wheel on the rear, but it still came out pretty well. Um, much bigger improvement in stopping. It's just night and day difference over the stock brakes, in my opinion, anyway. Had the rotors here. The rotors here are actually out of a 2010 SS, and they were basically the hub had to be enlarged to go over the F body wheel hub. But that was just a trip to a machine shop. So here we go to the next deal. On the rear, same thing, and just using. I had these powder coated. Um, they're just the stock brakes on the rear because there's a whole bunch of speculation as to why not to upgrade these um, into Brembos or anything like that. It's simply because that it puts too much stopping power in the rear. Plus, you're going to lose either your ABS or your parking brake, whichever one you choose. The wheel, once again, here is slightly different. It comes from the same manufacturer, but the model is different. It is two running a 295 tire on the rear, and I had no fitment issues with that. All the ground effects, by the way, they are molded into the body of the car, so they're not removable anymore. And that came at a cost of around 3 grand. Um, but for the most part, it came out okay, and I'm happy with it for now. Unfortunately, the guy who did it, he left a whole bunch of overspray in the car, and I'm still trying to get some of it off. I'm quite ticked off over that. So that's gonna be possibly even another paint job in some parts of this car. But here, let me go ahead and now show you the interior and explain everything that I've done. So here we are. Got the gauge cluster. Everything here is now functional. I did have a few problems with it earlier, but we got it rectified. Turned out that my speedometer was having problems, and what we had to do is we had to take the illumination circuit off of the speedometer and the illumination on the stock cluster are grounded on the same post, but we had to take the illumination off of the same ground, and I ran a different ground for it, and it started working properly again. Of course, I got my inlays. That was all done by LT4 Vert here. The inlays here too. That's my joint head unit. Inlay here. I still got some work to do on this. It used to be tucked in, but it slowly worked its way out. I'm probably gonna have to glue it in there. That'll happen a little bit later though, because I'm gonna have to pull this whole thing out again, and I just don't feel like doing that right now. Um, and of course here I've got my red line cover and red line cover. Crappy cell phone. That's my cell phone, really. The one that I should be recording this with. I'm using someone else's phone. Um, and I gotta remember to keep this thing sideways. So, here we go. And, here's the seats. They have the Z28 logo on them. This is all done by Prentice at Lidl Interiors. The dashboard. The dashboard is completely new. I had to go with the stock GM dashboard too. I got quite a bit of a story on that. My first dashboard that was in the car, the factory one, it cracked pretty bad, and I just couldn't take it anymore, so I yanked it out, and I tried to glue it back together, but it was just simply put too brittle. It wasn't holding together. Every time I so much touched it or it moved, it cracked. And I tried to leather wrap, but that didn't turn out too well. So I ended up going with an eBay dashboard, which is fairly inexpensive. You can get them for like $275, but what happened was when I got it, at first it looked like it was going to fit, but the mounting tabs were off quite a bit, and unfortunately, some people would have had success putting it on without mounting tabs, but I had no such success. When I put it on, it was not flush. It was literally hanging up by quite a bit, so you could see inside of the dash, and I couldn't deal with that either. And then I ended up having the center part up there. It was always propped way up, and we couldn't get that worked out. So that I ended up sending it back, and they were kind enough to give me a complete refund. And with that refund plus more money, I ended up buying a $500 General Motors dash, and that one went in without any issues. Headliner up here, that's all new. It is an eBay headliner, and for the most part it goes in without any issue. The door panels here are from a V6, and I guess I should have told you that the interior of this car used to be tan. It was not black. It was all tan leather. The seats were tan, and the carpet was black, and that's another thing that was changed. The carpet is now gray. Down there you'll see that is painted. That's a kick panel. I painted that black with Landy black paint from SEM, and it came out quite well. Everything here that used to be tan was either painted black or replaced with a black part. So the entire color scheme of this car has changed, and I really like it this way. So here, I'm going to give you one more look at the back seat real quick, and the seats, if you can see it all. And you'll have to forgive what I've got in the back seat, but here we go. I painted the entire sail panel, everything in the trunk, including the carpeted little lid, the deck. And now I'm gonna go ahead and show you what everything really does. This required quite a bit of extensive wiring on my part, but the gauge cluster was not the only thing that I've wired into this car. I wired about 4 things together. So to do that, because I needed more power, I felt it would be safe to have more power than what's in the fuse panel. There's an accessory post inside the fuse panel, by the way, for those who don't know. Here, I'll show you. If you look here, right underneath where it says gauges, that little leg there has ignition power. If you plug in just your standard AutoZone leg connector, then you can run a wire to it, and then you could run a wire to that post, and you get 15 amps of power whenever the ignition is on. And then of course there's one that's battery, and one that's accessory. My accessory one is actually not there. My battery and ignition are though, but I didn't feel safe with just those 15 amps. I wanted more, so I ran a whole new line from the engine compartment where the jumper post is into the interior of the car, which also required me removing the computer, the engine computer, and running several cables in here. On top of that, I also ran cables for my remote fuel pump shutoff, my Viper alarm, my my Viper alarm, my remote fuel pump shutoff, all power, and oh yes, the temperature sensor on this OLED. It's got a temperature sensor which you can hook up a GM factory sensor to, and that's been run out underneath the car as well. I'm probably going to have to relocate it because it's picking up engine heat readings whenever I'm idle, so I'll have to figure something out for that. But let's see. What did I do with my darn keys? I can't believe I just... No way. I'm going to have to pause it for a minute. I left my keys inside the house. I'll be back. Okay, we're back. And let me see if I can... Here we go. This is it when ignition is on. And like I said, all this is wired to that circuit that I told you about. Turns the ignition on. The lights here, we dimmed them so that way they wouldn't be as bright. They're extremely bright at full brightness. And we dimmed them just by putting a resistor on them. It's an adjustable resistor, but at full brightness it'll blind you for the most part, especially at night. I'm thinking of just running a relay so that whenever the headlights are on, that it'll go to the dim brightness, and then when the headlights are off, it'll go back to full brightness, simulating night and day like modern cars. But right now it's not really a nuisance or anything like that. So here we go. Everything is lit up. Sorry, I have my camera light on so you can't see. I'm going to show you my Android real quick. It is a Android 5.1. It's really upgradable to 6, but I've got everything set up here just the way I like it, so I'm not changing it. And I also have a dash cam here. It is always recording whenever this car is on. So whenever a car's on, it's always recording. Even for about 10 minutes after the car is disabled, it's also recording. So here's just a short thing. I'm going to start off with a Netflix video. My Wi-Fi signal is a bit weak in here. I'm going to turn my phone's Wi-Fi on. Hang on. I'm using my other phone to do this. There we go. Hang on. It's now connecting to my phone. That's Pandora. That's running in the background. By the way, it stopped because it eventually the data stopped. That's another thing about this unit. There's a lot of aftermarket support. Just out the box, it needs quite a bit of work because the manufacturers kind of rushed it. But once you get all the modifications that the users have put out there, this turns into an amazing unit. It has the Google commands, and also it can do just about everything your phone can do. Pandora, iHeartRadio, Netflix, Hulu, just about everything on top of that. So we are now on my Wi-Fi. I'm going to go back And let's see what we've got as far as videos are concerned. We've got mosquitoes in there. We have a horrible mosquito problem in our yard. Here, I'm just gonna look for a video real quick. I haven't done this in a while with Netflix. I'm using another account too. So, here, action. And it's gonna load some videos, and I'll just throw something on like Spawn. And once again, I can do this while I'm driving. I can do this when I'm sitting still. And also, I wouldn't do it while I'm driving, just to be dead honest. There would be no way I could concentrate. I've got a 1 terabyte hard drive that's stuffed inside of the center console. So I've also got movies and a crap ton of music in there, so I don't always have to be on the internet just to have a media. So I've got hundreds of thousands of songs, on top of which I've got videos and other things, but here you go.
Who will help destroy the world in exchange for wealth and power, and provide enough souls to complete his army and allow Armageddon to begin. All Malbolgia needs now is a great soldier. Someone to lead his hordes to the gates of heaven and burn them down.
Okay, well, I'm not going to show you the whole video, but you get the idea. Here we go. We'll go back and show you a few other small things real quick. My basic home screen here. I could do much more with this if I wanted to, but I want to keep it basic. You know, I have to forget a flashlight, but I've got tons of apps on here. I could connect to my computer if I wanted to. I've got TeamViewer and Windows Remote Desktop. I'll just connect real quick via TeamViewer just to show you. And blah, blah. Good. And let me see if I'm logged in. I'm probably not. I haven't really used this before. So for this, I also have a keyboard. Launch this. The keyboard is wireless, it doesn't get in the way or anything. So. Honestly, I've forgotten my password, but the gist is I can control it from anywhere that has internet once I remember my credentials. Let me see if that works. That didn't work. Hang on. Well, I'm not going to show you right now. I do have one other that I can use, but I'm technically already logged on to it. I really didn't want to do it that way. Just to give you an idea, though. And this will connect me to my rig that I have built. Once again, I could be logged in from anywhere. It won't affect any users who are already on it either, including me, because obviously I can't get connected to it for some reason. Probably the IP address changed. Oh, I know what happened. It's using the local IP. That's no big deal. But yeah, it would work once I get it all configured right. So one more thing I'm going to go ahead and show you, and that is the PLX devices. And one other thing I forgot to mention is that I do have the remote fuel pump disabler installed, which means as long as this car is within cell phone range, I can send a text message to it and completely disable the vehicle even while it's moving. PLX devices here on the left. I'm gonna go ahead and show you what it'll do. Here we go, view OBD data, and now it shows you my throttle, RPM, E-load timing, and so forth. So if I push throttle, my gas pedal, it does respond. And that's all connected to my OBD port. It shows me other things as well, airflow, air intake, water, and so forth. But yep, that's about it. So the car, once again, is cellularly connected, and I can access it with my phone. Eventually, I'll also be able to lock it and unlock it with my phone and other things as well. I haven't got all that wired up yet. That's probably going to go to a professional to do that because I just don't feel confident enough to do it. But that's about it. If you have any questions, just leave me a message on the forum, and I'll be happy to answer them.